Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Different women, different needs, right? And this is kind of in response because I still get something in the comments. Somebody will say, well, you know, Rom, you saying this, but this other dating coach is saying this. And they'll say like they're confused and stuff. And, you know, I already did a video talking about, you know, dating coaches are just going to have different styles. You know, it's just like martial arts. I mean, you got Kung Fu, karate, jiu-jitsu. You got different styles, different approaches, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good thing. Now, I want to get into why I say it's a good thing. See, understand something. One of the mistakes a lot of men make is treat all women like they're the same. And they're really not. You know, I know there's dudes out there that keep encountering the same type of women, but there's actually a good explanation for that, right? Everybody is going to encounter, once you encounter a certain type of woman, and this is based on the male imprint and also the environment that you're in, that's pretty much going to be you the rest of your life unless you consciously make a different decision. So there's a lot of men, they're going to be encountering the same tribe of women, right? But understand the reality is there are different types of women, right? And it's all based on it's deep. It's a deep thing. It's a subconscious thing. This past Friday, I was on a BGS for Women hanging out. Now I was talking about archetypes. I suggest you go to the BGS Women for Women channel and check that out. It was talking about archetypes and stuff. Now, for the purposes of this podcast, I'm gonna talk about one system of archetypes that I've used, and I've actually talked about this in earlier videos. You can go through my archives and find them. And it was talking about the house of the woman, right? The house of the woman, right? And you have 4 pillars to the house of the woman. And so basically 4 archetypes of women. And this is based on a woman's natural instincts, their tendencies, their nurturing instinct, the instinct to be intuitive, the nesting instinct, and also the instinct to seek pleasure, right? So for each of those instincts, there's a symbol, an archetype that represents it. For the nurturing instinct, there is the moon, right? And for the more intuitive / more intellectual instinct, it's the seated hawk. For the gathering instinct, it's the treasure chest, and then for the pleasure principle, it's the elegant rose, right? Now, here's the thing to realize. You can't approach all 4. If you're a man and you say you in a situation where you have 100 women, you have 25 moon type of women, you have 25 seated hawk type of women, you have 25 treasure chests, and you have 25 elegant rose. The typical man will only be able to connect at best with 25 of those women. They're going to have a natural attraction for him. Let me say that again. At best, he's going to have a natural attraction for 25 of those women. Now, if he's a little bit more advanced and has some other things going on, maybe 50 of those women. And of course, we'll just keep it simplified. I'll just say 25 of those women. So what happens is every single man, they're going to have an archetype of woman that they're going to have a natural click with, and then they'll have a little bit of trouble with the other women, right? So there's different needs. Now, to understand it, let me go over the archetypes. Now, I mentioned the moon. Now, that's the nurturing instinct in a woman, right? That's that homebody. That's the stay-at-home mom. That's the soccer mom, right? If as a man you approach her, she's looking for somebody who resonates with what she wants to do. She wants to sit back and chill at home. I'll give you a story about this. I mentioned this before. I'll never forget it. I was dealing with this one woman, and I thought she liked how I look. I thought she liked my education, money, all that stuff, you know. She didn't care about none of that. All she cared about was that I worked with kids and, did stuff for my grandmother. The reason why, she was a moon. She was more of a nurturing type. She was a family. She was a homebody, right? The guys that she ultimately married was a homebody, right? That's who. If you approaching her, she's looking for clues that you be good with kids or that you like kids, or that you ain't the type to be running the streets. You be sitting there chilling with her, watching Netflix or something. And I mean actually watching Netflix, right? You be that type on a Sunday, cold ass Sunday, you out there in the backyard grilling or something. That's her. So when a woman, if you're approaching that type of woman and you don't give off that type of vibe, it ain't gonna work. She ain't gonna have a real interest in you. She ain't gonna have a real interest. And even if she tries to have an interest, y'all gonna find that y'all not compatible. Now, and this happens all the time. People deal with, men will deal with women they really ain't compatible with, right? So that's the moon. Now, if you talk about the seated hawk, those are more intellectual type of women, right? More intellectual, more thinking. Now, if you approach them and you don't give the idea that you have some level of intelligence, they ain't gonna want to mess with you. Like, the seated hawk out of all of them is most likely to mess with an educated nerd or something like that. They're the type, because they're more in the head and everything, right? They're more in the head. So you can't just look good or have good style. You got to be able to have a good conversation. You got to be able to tell her something, right? You got to increase her intelligence, because really that's what she coming at you at, right? And also with some seated hawk types, they can be that type that's into like some, I'd say, new age type of stuff or something like that, right? Which, if you look at, is still a very intellectual type of thing, right? If you're talking about the sun and the moon, stars, astrology, all that metaphysical stuff, that's more intellectual. So if you don't impress, first of all, if she look at you and you don't look intellectual, she might not want to mess with you. And then if she talk with you and find out, nah, this dude just talking about the ball game or something like that, or just care about how he dressing and stuff, they gonna be like, nah, right? So, but she got different needs. Now, you notice her needs are kind of different from the moon needs. She ain't tripping over like, whether or not you'd be a good homebody. She probably want to know if you the type want to go to the library with her and hang out for 3 hours, right? Or you want to go to that lecture or something, learning about, a rare form of astrology or something like that. All right? So that's that. So you already have different needs right there. Then when you deal with the treasure chest, that's the woman want to know, if you approach her, if you look broke or look like you don't have money, she ain't gonna mess with you. Like the treasure chest, they the most likely gonna look at you and all women are influenced by money, but it's not the total thing. But treasure chests usually are, but it's not as a gold digger. They don't want to carry anybody, A few might, you get some occasions where they might carry some pretty boy or something, but really the guy that they really gonna click with is a guy out there hustling with them. So if she that corporate executive, she wants you to be that successful businessman or something. So you hit her, she gonna be like, all right, does this dude look like he industrious, enterprising? Is he busy working, getting that money? And honestly, that's gonna turn her on, because that's something she's doing. She's doing the same thing, right? So you come up and trying to spit some game or something like that, but you ain't talking business or look like you about business. She gonna be like, yeah, right? Or if you're a homebody, or if you're an intellectual type, but, a lot of intellectual types, aren't making that much money, or, just barely making it or something like that, she gonna be like, I don't know. Or if you that type just want to just sit at home, work that regular 9 to 5 and just go home and putter around your house, she gonna be like, I don't know, right? But that's just what she's going. So, okay, you got 3 different women, 3 different needs. And then you got the elegant rose. That's that thought. That's that woman. Those IG women, right? Those women be cold as heck out. They got their their biggest thing is looking fly and everything all the time. And it serves a purpose. But if you approach them, they don't necessarily, some guys think they want the money and they'll deal with a man just giving them money. But the guys that they give sex to for free, they going to be that same type of party dude. If she fly, he got to come up there flying everything. He got to be just as fly as she. I mean, and that's just it. Now and now that's brief. If you want to really get deeper into it, just check out the videos I did on the House of the Woman, and also check out the BGS Hangout. In fact, I'll put a link to the BGS Hangout, BGS for Women Hangout, where I talk about archetypes, right? And it was a good conversation because BGS has a great understanding of them as well.